a brother asked me to explain our logo, right? So here you can see how the logo started. Has evolved a little bit. Brother Celio helped me with the new design, but the new design is based on this one. So here was the original logo. You can see it's a menorah, a lampstand. It has the name Yahushua right here in the middle, Yahushua, which is the name of Messiah, who is the light. So is the center of the lampstand. And it actually represents this light in the middle, which is used in the menorot, is used to light each of the lights. Just like through Mashiach, the light, we, each of us receive light. Just like Moshe gave light to the 70 judges without his light being dimmed. So just like this light will light all this, but still remains, the same happens with the Ruach within a person when he gives it to others. That Ruach being the light of Mashiach, the truth. Then under here we have the Hey, which is the article, the. Then we have Derech, which is the word way, and Yahweh. So the way of Yahweh. In Hebrew, of possession is not written just by putting the word next to the other one. Two nouns next to each other mean one belongs to the other. So the way of Yahweh. In Secher Yah, and for that, I guess we could read it. So I'll go to Secher Yah. In Zechariah 4, it says, and the messenger who was speaking to me came back and woke me up as a man awaking from sleep. And he said to me, what do you see? So I said, I have looked and see a lampstand, a menorah, all of gold. So that's why the menorah has that color. With a bowl on top of it, and on the stand, 7 lamps with 7 spouts to the 7 lamps. That's why there are 7 lights, like the 7 congregations of Revelation 2 and 3, like the 7 continents, like the 7 days in the week, like the 7 planets that are seen with the naked eye. And 2 olive trees are by it, and 2 olive trees are by it, one at the right of the bowl and the other at its left. So that's why there's an olive branch here and an olive branch here. Then I responded and spoke to the messenger who was speaking to me, saying, what are these, my sovereign? And the messenger who was speaking to me answered and said to me, do you not know what these are? And I said, no, my sovereign. And he answered and said to me, this is the word of Yahweh to Zerubbabel, who represents the last. Not by might nor by power, but my Ruach, said Yahweh of hosts. Who are you, great mountain, the kingdom of this world, the new world order, before Zerubbabel? A plain, no matter how big, how strong the kingdom is, how huge the mountain is, before the one that Yahweh chose because of the power that he gave to him, it is just a plain. And he shall bring forth the capstone, meaning he shall bring forth the teaching of Mashiach to finish the doctrine, the capstone with shouts of favor to it. So I'm not going to continue because it's a good chapter. But if we go real quick to Revelation 11, it says, and I shall, verse 3, and I shall give unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clad in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands that are standing before the Elohim of the earth. These are the 2 olive trees. So here we have the menorah, 7 lamps, yeah, and the 2 olive trees represented by these 2 branches. The way of Yahweh right in the middle. This shape that forms could be seen as the law of perspective of a way going all the way to Yahushua, who is the light. Now, why the shape? The shape of it comes from this. As you can see, there are 3 letters, Hebrew letters on the top and 2 letters on the bottom. So the menorah is formed with 5 Hebrew letters. And we could even say it's only 3 in a mirror. Because on top we have Shin, Vav, Shin, or the Vav and the Shin mirrored, and then a Tzadeh mirrored. Now, the letter Tzadeh that you see on the bottom represents a tzaddik, which is a righteous person who is kneeling and praying. So you can see the person kneeling with his hands praying. That letter is a tzaddik. So that tzaddik would be one olive branch, one olive tree. The other tzaddik or tzaddik, a righteous, the other branch, the other olive tree. 2 righteous people that Yahweh would send, as in Revelation 11, but also first and last, the 2 manifestations of Yahweh on this earth. This word right here that you see, Shin, Vav, Shin, well, sadly, like I said, they put here the Hebrew of nowadays, but let me look for it here. Do it a different way. Reverse engineering. So you see the word right here? It means to exalt, rejoice, display joy. So we are a congregation of joy, and that's why we laugh, at least in the Spanish one, since I have more people around. So we are a congregation of joy, gladness. We rejoice because we have Mashiach, who is the light, held by first and last, or 2 witnesses as the olive trees. Also, Shin, Vav, Shin, like for instance, if this, the Vav is the letter that represents a human being, son of man, and also a nail, as in the son of man who was nailed to a cross. And he is Mashiach. The man who was nailed is Mashiach. Mashiach starts with a letter mem. If we put the mem there instead of the vav, we get, let me write the mem, we get the son. The last is the son of righteousness, of Malachi 4:2, the son of righteousness, tzedekah, like the tzadeh on the bottom. And the last becomes, so he was a man who through Mashiach, through the sacrifice, becomes the son of righteousness, who brings the fire, as in the fire. You remember that the shin represents fire? So that's why I use the shin as the ones on top to carry the fire of the light. So this is also a representation of the Shemesh, seen in a different way, of the sun. The light in the middle is called Shamash, which means servant that lights the other ones. So it's connected to the son of righteousness, to joy. Also, I wanted to see, show this. This will be connected to the last, the Shin, Vav, Shin, that joy. While this other joy that we saw here, Simcha, you see another type of joy, gladness, pleasure. That one is connected to the first. So we have this type of joy connected to the last, who is the Son of Man, who comes as the Son of Righteousness, who is the consuming fire, and who comes at the end of the 6th millennium, who was born on the 6th day of the week. And what I mean by that is that man was created on the sixth day. That's why the letter 6 is connected with the last and with the human being. Interestingly enough, the Vav, which is the letter in the middle, the numerical value of it is 6. So Sheish is 6. The Vav has the numerical value of 6. When we add them together, we have joy. And remember how the Vav in the middle is what one would say N. So the word here could be seen as fire and fire of knowledge, understanding, test, etc. So we have the joy of the Ruach, the Shemesh, the fire and the fire, the Son of Man who was nailed to a cross in order to become the Mashiach, who will be the source of power and light for the congregation and for the two Sadiqim. And then Shin, Vav, Shin has the numerical value of 606. 606 is the numerical value of this word on top, which means joy. 90 is the numerical value of each letter Tzadeh. So we have 90 plus 90, we have 180 plus 606, we have 786, right? So 786 will be the numerical value of the logo. And this on the right are Hebrew words that have that same numerical value. And I will show you that just in a second. On the left, we have Nehemiah. Oh, look at that. How perfect, right? We finish reading the book and we find a connection with the logo right there. Nehemiah 10, and we actually did this. So anyways, Nehemiah 10:4. This verse for Hatush, Shebaniah, Maluk. Those three names added together have the same numerical value as the numerical value of the logo. That is verse 4. We have it here. Pashhur, Amaria, Malkiah. That's another one. Yeah, that was verse 3. So verse 3 is verse 4 here. So verse 4 there should be 5 here. So here it is. Hatush, Shebaniah, and Maluk. Those are the three names that those numerical values are equivalent to the numerical value of the logo. And that means a convocation that Yahweh increases in reign. So a congregation who is given the kingdom and increased with numbers and favor and blessing. So these three names give us that message. Hatush is the congregation, convocation. Shevanya, that Yahweh increments, increases. For he is king, or increases with kingdom, with kingship. For the chosen few are kings and priests, according to the book of Revelation. In chapter 5, but also chapter 1, verse 6. So then we have these other verses where we find these other words that have the same numerical value, and they all have an interesting message. I don't know if you guys will want to see them, but we have here, I will save. Here, what he did, his work. Once again, having to do with salvation. Once again, salvation in Judges. Pretty much all of them have to do with salvation, except Exodus 28:12. Exodus 28:12 has to do with their names. That means their names, as in their names who are written in the book of life. and also the importance of their names, the name of the Father and the name of the Son, which is key to this congregation. Shemotam. So, well, since I'm taking this question and I guess it's interesting, I will look at it real quick. Let's go to the first one, Jeremiah 4:14. O Jerusalem, wash your heart from evil and be saved. And be saved. Here it is. Be saved. That word, or in Hebrew, is just one word, same numerical value as the numerical value of the logo of the congregation. We have it here. Tivashei. Tivashei. Then we have Psalm 53:6. 53:6. It says, "Oh, that the deliverance of Israel would be given out of Zion, out of Sion." Verse 6. When Elohim turns back the captivity of his people, let Yaakov rejoice, let Israel be glad. Here it is the last verse. This is the 7 right here. And in this case, it will be this word, Yeshua. Yeshuyot. That's where it seems to be because of those points there, where it says deliverance. So we see once again salvation. All of those have the same root as Yahushua, the salvation of Yahweh. Then we have Judges 6:37. See, I am placing a fleece of wool on the threshing floor. If there is dew only on the fleece and it is dry on all the ground, then I shall know that you are saving Israel. You are saving Israel. That word, you are saving, verse 37, Ki Toshia, Ki Toshia, that you are saving. Toshia, same numerical value. You are saving. And even the story is pretty interesting where that numerical value is found. Then Judges 15:18. Judges 15:18. And he became very thirsty and cried out to Yahweh and said, you have given this great deliverance by the hand of your servant. And now am I to die of thirst and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised? Yahweh will give a great deliverance to the few, but then the last, who is represented by Shimshon, Samson, is killed by uncircumcised people, spiritually speaking. And the deliverance is the same word, once again, having to do with salvation. Verse 18. Here it is. Hadshua. Hadshua, right there. Then we go to Deuteronomy 32:15. It says, and also the hand of Yahweh was against them to destroy them from the midst of the camp until they were consumed. 32 it was. 15 says, but Yeshurun grew fat and kicked. Yeshurun represents the last. You grew fat, you grew thick, and also Israel as a people who, when they grew thick, they became rebellious. You are covered with fat, so he forsook Eloah who made him. Yeshurun forsook the Creator and scorned the rock of his deliverance. Once again, verse 15, his deliverance. We have it here. Yeshuato, his salvation. He forsook his salvation. Then we have Yeshua in Exodus 14:13. We're almost done. Exodus 14:13. And Moshe said to the people, do not be afraid, stand still and see the deliverance of Yahweh, which he does for you today. See the deliverance, verse 13. Et Yeshuat, Yeshuat, the deliverance. And finally, Exodus 28:12. Exodus 28:12. And you shall put the 2 stones on the shoulder pieces of the shoulder garment, as first and last, as stones of remembrance for the sons of Israel. And Aharon shall bear their names before Yahweh and his 2 shoulders. And Aharon shall bear their names before Yahweh on his 2 shoulders for a remembrance. With the names of the sons of Israel, right? So, and Aharon shall bear their names on his shoulders. just like first and last, each shoulder would bear the weight of the sins of the people, the conscious and unconscious sins, chata and asham, as the sacrifice is given for each of those sins. So Aaron would have the stones with 6 tribes and 6 tribes, like the first and last. And here bear their names, that is verse 12. Their names, meaning the names of the 12 tribes, like the chosen few who are 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes. And that is found on verse 12, by the way. Et Shemotam, their names. Shemotam. So their names, same numerical value as the logo. So the logo represents their names. What names? The names of the people of Israel, the names of the chosen. And I hope that's clear.